So I kept looking at this thing, and my radiator is going to be right there. Now with a short water pump and a mechanical fuel pump, you can run this in the stock location, but it appears to me that if you're running anything but a mechanical fuel pump and the short water pump setup, that you're going to want these guys right here. These are Code 504's engine setback plate set. They're pretty affordable. I shot them black the other day, scuffed them down, put a little black on them. And these go in under the motor mounts, and it moves your engine back 3 inches, which will give me all the clearance I need up here, and it'll put the back of the engine about 1.5 inches off the firewall. Now I'm going to install these engine relocation brackets, which is going to move my engine back 3 inches, but my engine plates from the mounts to the engine are fully adjustable, and I'm actually going to move my engine forward about 1 inch, which means my engine will go back a total of 2 inches. It'll be 2 inches off the firewall, and with that final adjustment, I don't have to build a new drive shaft. So I'm saving like $500-600 by not having to build a new shaft, by having the adjustability of these mounts. So I'm going to pop this motor out, put my plates in, get everything settled back in. I will have to make a different bolt hole location for my transmission cross member, but not a big deal. We'll just do it. So I just test fit my motor mounts, and they fit perfect. Basically, you're using the forward 2 bolt holes for bolts to hold the plate in. The third rearward lower bolt is shared with the mount and the plate. Now I didn't quite get it when I first got these, but the holes are not symmetric from side to side. So on these 2 plates, this hole is the only hole that lines up. All the other holes are different. Don't know why that is, but it is what it is. They fit perfect, so. Yeah, I mean, it's 2 motor mounts. You would think that all the other holes would line up, but they don't line up. Only the one lines up, so they must have a different pattern from side to side. But it's nothing to worry about. It is something that's engineered into the vehicle, and these Code 504 plates fit like a glove. They're very nice, thick construction, laser cut, very nice piece. Once again, nice job, Code 504. These setback plates are the bomb. So I'm going to throw a couple grade 8 bolts in the fronts of this, and then my third bolt will be shared. And then my other 2 motor mount bolts will be nut and bolt into the plate. And that'll be that. So that just moved our motor mount back 3 inches, and then I have adjustability in these motor mounts so I can get the engine wherever I want it. And this right here is going to allow me to dial in my transmission tail shaft to allow me to use the old drive shaft that came out of this vehicle, so I don't have to spend a bunch of money having another drive shaft made or having the one we have changed. Moves my engine back far enough to give me more clearance to the radiator, and it allows me to dial in my clearance for my drive shaft. So this all together works out really well. So as is the case with everything in the world we live in, when you change one thing, you have to change other things to make it work. So when we installed these plates are pretty thick. Well, it moves both motor mounts closer together. So now the hole my bolt needs to go through is offset pretty far, like a ½ inch. So I'm going to elongate my holes on both of my mounts that mount to the engine to allow me the space that's been taken up by this bracket, and that will effectively get my engine back down where it needs to be and align my motor mount bolts back up. So it's like anything, when you change one thing, you got to change a bunch of other stuff to make it work. Really nice kit. I'm really happy with these motor mount plates. They fit perfect. It's a really good piece. Really happy with them. It's going to really help me complete the appearance in the engine bay the way I want it to look. Get the engine sitting in the right position, and it saves me money because I don't have to put another drive shaft or build another drive shaft for this car. So good stuff. Oh, gravity. So the setback plates are about 5/16 of an inch thick. So I just elongated my bolt holes in my brackets. If I had been smart, I would have ordered the engine setback kit when I ordered the frame, and these plates would be different. But since I ordered it in the standard location, I just modified my mounts to allow for the extra height of the adapter plate. I'm going to go check it and make sure it fits. If it does, great. I'll bolt them back together and we can keep moving forward. So those are pretty cool. Moved my engine back quite a bit. Gave me a whole bunch more room to my radiator. Again, you don't have to use the setback kit for a small block Chevy, but unless you're running a short water pump and a mechanical fuel pump, there's really no reason not to get the setback kit. Your engine's going to sit nicer in the engine bay and you're going to have less interference with your radiator up front. I'm running an electronic fuel pump anyway, so I don't care, but with this setback kit, there's not enough room here for your mechanical fuel pump to fit between the frame and the engine. So just food for thought, but I highly recommend the setback kit. I think it's, ouch, I think it's really going to make a, sliver. I think it's really going to make a good appearance under the hood with engine position relative to the body. So now I'm going to figure out my drive shaft length so that I know exactly where I want the engine forward to back. And then I will modify my transmission cross member to make it fit the way I want it to fit. And then I'm done with all this. I'm going to hang some rear brakes on the back, and then it's time to roll this thing under the body and start making the body fit to the frame. Very exciting day. So my drive shaft fits, my engine's set back, I have more clearance to my radiator. I'm very happy. Now I'm going to take some more stuff back apart, because now that I moved the engine back, I'm curious to know if the headers that were on this before will fit. I think this tube's going to hit the control arm, but I want to know, because I'd rather use these stainless steel tubes than these black painted ones. So I'm going to pop this header off. I'm pretty sure the header on the other side in stainless will work without contacting anything, but this is the one that I was having the issue with, and I'm going to see if I can make it work, because I just like the stainless steel headers better, and then I don't have to spend money on a new set of headers. Besides these V8 S10 headers with the big sweep out on the driver's side, I don't really care for anyway, unless they're in an S10. So we'll take it back apart. I think I'm gonna make it work. That's what I do. That control arm's gonna come up when it's sprung. But it's really close. There's a little adjustment right there in that header tube, and I think I'll be good to go. And by adjustment, I mean put a dent in it. So I massaged the header tube right here to clearance my upper control arm. This is the second gen Camaro headers that we had on this car on the old frame. I clearanced my header tube here by warming it and massaging it. And I think we're good here. The other side I'm going to contact at one spot in the frame. In the future I would probably make a modification to the frame before I coat it. Since I've already got the frame coated, I'm going to go ahead and modify the header tube a little bit and see if I can get enough clearance out of that header tube so that I can just make it sneak by the frame. It's one of those things, I probably should have mocked it up before I coated the frame, but it is what it is. Learn for the next time. The next time I'll know how to do this better. And the things I learn in this that I'm sharing with you guys hopefully will help you guys figure out ways to do stuff on your build that much faster. Now just a little tidbit. I'm trying to not have to use the S10 headers because I don't like the way that the middle two tubes sweep way out on the driver's side. I believe they're going to be in the way of my steering shaft when it comes to that part of the assembly, and I like the stainless steel tube headers better anyway. So I'm really trying to make these second gen Camaro headers work. So far it's looking like it's going to work out pretty well. The block hugger headers that I commonly use on stuff like this won't fit this setup because they hit the upper control arm right here. I may go ahead and grab a cast iron ram's horn manifold and see if it fits, but again, this control arm right here is not going to happen because two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. So I'm real happy with my engine placement. Getting the engine moved back was a definite bonus. I've got my transmission cross member configured and set up and bolted in place. My drive shaft is now in the vehicle, and we just hung rear brake shoes and hardware kits on the rear brakes. Resurfaced the drums, so that's all done in the back. So now I'm going to try and massage this other header on the driver's side, and we'll see if we can get it made up, and then we'll be moving towards the next step. Well, my header tube hits my frame right here, so I'm going to massage it a little bit. I'm not really worried about horsepower loss because this engine's not building enough power for me to worry about it. And down the line, if this thing does go to become an LS powered vehicle, we'll be using different headers that'll fit better anyway. So I'm going to heat this. I'm going to knock the center of it down, and then I'll heat it some more and work the tube inward. And when I get it to where I think it needs to be, I'll test fit it, and if it's not there, I'll move it some more. You can see right in the middle I made a mark, which is where the frame is the largest, has the largest protrusion. I'm just going to work this tube in. Until I get it where I think it needs to be. We'll let that cool down. We'll see how it fits. And it probably won't fit right, so I'll have to do it again. But hey, that's what happens. Hot. So these are the V8 swap headers for an S10, and they fit for this setup pretty well. But my inner fender well, I think, is going to hit here. And I don't like the way these look. So I'm going to try my hardest to make those stainless steel headers work. And I think they'll work out just fine. With a little adjustments. Nope, needs a little more. Keep working it forward. Sometimes people forget how all the little stuff adds up. Like each one of these little guys is like $2. So every one of these you use on a car is a couple bucks. And the brake line's like 15, 20 bucks. And the clips to hold the brake lines in are a couple bucks. It's all these little couple bucks that add up and make these things so expensive to build and time consuming, because you don't have one of these and you gotta wait a day for it to show up. It's really frustrating. But that's cars. At least that's custom cars. So this header is not going to work. I thought it was going to work. I thought I could make it work. Not going to work. Hopefully my next set of headers will be here tomorrow, and I'll fit those and see if those will work. I think they're going to work. We'll find out. But these are not going to work without me modifying the frame, and since I've already got the frame coated, I'm not going to do that. The next time I do this, I will make sure I test fit my frame and my headers and all my stuff before I coat my frame. It's a little bit more work to put it all together, to take it all the way back apart, to get it all coated and nice, and then put it all back together again. But I think it'll reduce a couple headaches the next time around. But once I've figured out the right recipe, so to speak, for what headers work with what engine and what position and all that, the next time I do one of these, it ought to be pretty easy. That's the nice thing about doing a specific job more than once, is that you get to learn from your mistakes and you get to be faster at it the next time you do it. Let's make my flare on that side, put my brake hose hanger on the frame, and then I'm done with brake lines. Well, until I get the cab on it. Let's put that guy on before we make a perfect flare. Make sure it's the right one. The right one. Set you back there so I don't forget.
So I was looking for, yeah, I was going to get one, but I'm like, there's something else I need to get with that. I don't remember it. No, it's the body clips. Which they have huge kits of body clips.
So these brake line fittings have a recess and they have a place to put these retainer clips in. The other side is not round. It's got like 4 points to it. So you drill your hole to the upper piece and then you use a carbide to elongate out the 4 points, and then your brake line will lock into your tab that holds your brake line in place, and then you put your retainer in, and then you put your line on, and everything's good to go. So now that I have all my front brake lines done, all my back brake lines are done, my fuel supply and my fuel return line are done, I have my transmission in place. I do have another set of headers coming because I don't like the way these fit, but that's okay, we'll solve that problem. So I think I'm gonna work on the cab a little bit, get it ready to drop down on here so that we can switch this stuff out and start making this look like a pickup truck again. Sounds like a plan. So these fenders were already cut out before, and I just extended the cut to give me a little more clearance up front, and the clearance required on the core support so I can bolt it up to the new code 504 brackets. I think I'm ready to move a frame. Awesome. Let's see how this thing fits. See how close this long water pump is to the radiator. Without that setback kit, there'd be a lot more work involved with making everything fit. It's like Jenga.
I was getting ready to say.
It's a high stakes game of Jenga. Just give me a bump.
Up.
Up. Stop. Again. Again. Whoa. Easy.
Did a bump.
Thank you. That's what we needed. What was that? Yeah. Wrong way. So I have to move my crate forward like a half an inch because it's one of the cross members on the frame is hitting it. Oh well. So the nose of my cab is trying to hit the frame first, so I got to tilt the cab up so that the cab mounts hit before my front doghouse hits. Needless to say, well, that's a win. Cab's on the truck, cab's on the frame. I gotta sort out and get my levels where they need to be so everything sits where they need to sit. And we gotta find some different wheels because these wheels are off, their offset's way too deep. They need to be offset out. But hey, at least the cab's on the frame rails. I can make sure I like the way some things fit, some things don't fit, figure out where I wanna go from here. Now that the body's on, I can make sure I'm happy with my header fitment and my steering shaft alignment. Still haven't quite figured out which headers I'm going to use on this. But I'll let you know as soon as I figure out the ones I like the best. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you clicking like, commenting below, subscribing to the channel. We're just a small shop in Central Ohio doing what we do. I highly don't recommend doing the 2x4 box that I did, but I had to do what I had to do to get it done. If you're actually building one of these somewhere, I mean, it worked. It was structurally sound. It actually worked better than I thought it was gonna. So, no big deal. Just got to make sure you have it positioned under the vehicle correctly, so you don't run into the cross member like I did. But hey, thanks for watching. Have a great day.